What's up, fight fans? This is Tezzy's Top Picks. My name's Tasir, and this is my official prediction for the upcoming war between Khabib, DC's #1 bullshit, Nurmagomedov, and Tony Ferguson. I'm gonna be breaking this prediction down into the following format. My thoughts on this fight being announced, the pros and cons of each fighter, and lastly, an educated guess on how I see this fight going down. So getting right into the gritty. Now I know this fight isn't 100% until both these warriors are standing in the cage and Bruce Buffer is blowing the lung announcing their names. But like a naive girlfriend who just keeps going back, I'm giving these guys a second chance. Third, actually. Third. Fucking third. So if the stars align and we do get to see this fight for the ages, here is my analysis. So when I was made aware that this fight was going down for a third time, I really tried not to pay any attention to it. But deep down inside, I was like... This matchup has been so long overdue and the anticipation's very Aldo versus McGregor-esque. Finally, we see a fight in the top tier of the lightweight division and all the questions will be answered. So without further ado, now if I was to list all the pros of these fighters, this video would be longer than the uncut version of Lord of the Rings. And since I respect your guys' time, I'm going to be listing the top 3 pros and only 1 con for each. So in championship format, we will start with no other than Khabib Nurmagomedov. Pro number 1. Let's just get it out of the way. His fucking grappling. Now to say his grappling is top tier would be one hell of an understatement for the level of grappling this man possesses. His ability to dictate where the fight goes and his control off the top is truly second to none. Kane and Askren up there, but not quite in the pure ability to make opponents scream, "What the fuck?" while they're getting mauled. So I guess those grizzly bear daycare centers in Dagestan weren't such a bad idea. Number 2. Now this is an important one because both of these fighters possess such a phenomenal pace, making it such an interesting fight. But for Khabib, I'm not just talking about the pace, I'm talking about that octagon control. He's coming forward more than John Jones at his hearings. Cause like, you know, you have to come forward before a judge at like a hearing. Why? I am interested to see how Tony's pitter-patter movements are going to play against someone who moves so aggressively in one direction at such an how you call lastly, number 3, his English.
This is #1 bullshit.
Just kidding. Even though it's fucking awesome, number 3 is his ability to implement a game plan. Listen, if Khabib wants to sit and trade, y'all gonna sit and trade. Now if he wants to take it to the mat, he's gonna beat your ass like your father the first time you talk back to him. It's a interesting childhood. Realistically though, how many takedowns are you gonna stuff? Look what he did to arguably the 2 greatest strikers in his division in his last 2 fights against Barboza and Johnson. In his last 2 fights with Barboza and Johnson, it looked like he was fighting with cheat codes. And I don't think any type of training or training partners can really prepare you for what he's about to bring. Growing up where he grew up, there was no space for softness, and his father realized that at an early age. That's why he stuck bears on him and shit. Really though, he's a very decorated combat sambo practitioner and he's as game as anyone. The con. Now, although his striking has taken leaps and bounds, it still has holes in it compared to the top of the food chain. Michael Johnson was able to exploit it early in the fight, but Khabib had too many tools. Now I feel like fighters aren't really able to dissect his striking at a proper level because they fear the inevitable takedown. Now with Tony's timings, unorthodox striking, and his ability to strike at all angles, I'm very interested to see how this is going to play out. Now for the champ, Tony Ferguson. He's such an interesting fighter. So number 1, his ability to find those submissions. His game off his back is fucking ridiculous. And working with Eddie Bravo in those odd positions has really paid off in spades for this warrior. In his last fight with Kevin Lee, the damage he was able to do off his back before sinking in that triangle choke was actually so beautiful to watch. Those elbows were so nutty, and this is why I put that ability at number 1, because it's never really over for this guy. You have to stop this guy, and not for 1 second can you get comfortable or tentative, because if you do, it's gonna be a Darce night for you. Oh no, he didn't. Talking about his ability to find the win at any moment brings me to number 2. Not to get all David Goggins on y'all, but there's a place that every man in his head has where he's like, okay man, this is all. I've done everything, I've given everything I have. I think Tony lacks that gene. He will leave every ounce of his being inside that cage, and that's something you just can't teach someone. You're either born with it or you, yourself, with countless battles, get to that place. Numero 3. Pace, bro. This is something Tony is very proud of and vocal about because he works on it so damn hard every day. He does not slow down at all, and usually in the later rounds is able to up his pace in a very Diaz-like manner. And you can see it after he gets the victories too, how he just collapses down, but never shows it just a second before. And if you really want to understand what type of pace this man has, there's a video on YouTube of Chael Sonnen describing how he was watching Tony take on fresh fighters when he was already down 12 rounds. The people he was rolling with when they were fresh were UFC fighters, and he outworked all of them. I feel like his pace and his ability not to get tired at all is going to play a huge factor in this fight, because we've never seen Khabib in the championship rounds. Having an endless gas tank, man, that's a hell of an advantage to have. Now, the con. The biggest hole I see in Tony's game, especially coming to this matchup, is that he doesn't mind fighting off his back. Now, I know this is something that's paid off for him a lot in the past, but against a fighter like Khabib, I don't think that's really a good idea, because that's the position Khabib wants to be in. In his last fight against Kevin Lee, he was able to give up a full mount to a fighter, a wrestler who was less decorated than Khabib. Now, coming to my final conclusion. If both these men are healthy and focused, I think the winner is going to be Steve Mazzagatti. So on the real, this is how I actually see this fight going down. For about most of the first round, I see them standing, exchanging shots, and both of them landing shots successfully on the feet. None of them really doing any type of significant damage. However, I feel like Khabib's lack of respect for Tony in all positions is actually going to work out in his favor. Late in the first round, I think Khabib will go for the takedown off the cage, and I think he'll secure it. And I don't think it's going to be usual Tony doing damage off the bottom, because Khabib never really likes to stay in the guard. He's always good postures, and he's doing a lot of damage from odd angles on the top. He also likes to get control of his opponent's wrists and ankles to advance his position, and then he just drops bombs from all crazy angles, bringing this insane type of pressure that nobody really has seen before, and I think that is going to be the tale of the fight, resulting Khabib in becoming the new champ in a 5-round decision, which I think is probably pretty one-sided. So, there you have it. Now, I just want to say this on a personal note, you know, if I'm right, if I'm wrong,
I don't give a fuck,
because I can't wait for this fight to go down. But that's it, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, subscribe. My social media is in the description. And let me know how you feel about this fight. If you agree, disagree, leave it down in the comment section. Or you could just leave a hateful message about how much you can't stand me. Guys, for the fight, enjoy the fight, have a safe night, and until next time, I think that's it. Was I supposed to add something else?